typical day and tell my story about you.
No, because I'm not part of it. It's a cute story. But,
it's a wonderful story.
Go ahead and tell it, and I'll put it on now, Ted. Go ahead.
Okay. A typical day in my life growing up downtown was that we'd get up, the maid would be there in time to breakfast, serve breakfast. We ate at the dining room table. And then everybody went off to school, and I was the baby, so I was still at Charleston Day School, and usually somebody would come by to pick me up, Adele or you or Frank, you being David Farah, or Frank, and then we'd go down the street and get Randall and walk around the corner to school. And on one day, and you don't want me to tell a story, but you came to my house and you had brought a camellia for Miss Cove, as I recall. I'm probably the only teacher we all loved, and but you had already eaten it by the time you got to my house.
Mrs. McGee.
You would not have brought. No.
Yes,
that's hysterical. That makes it even funnier. You should have eaten it because she didn't deserve it. Anyway, then we'd get Randall and we'd go on to school and have our day at school where you stayed in the same classroom all day, and the teachers moved. I mean, first of all, you only had this one teacher through the 3rd grade, and then starting in the 4th grade, the teachers would move to us. And then at recess, we had the reds and the blues, and we had, races and things, and, one team won. And then you'd go home at lunchtime. We'd get out at 10 to 2, so we could be home to have dinner, which was in the middle of the day.
My memories of Charleston Day School are very much like Louisa's, and I let Louisa tell that story, but I have to go ahead and tell my own little story about Louisa. I think it's only fair. When we were in 3rd grade, we had a teacher named Miss Wilson. She was an absolutely wonderful lady, but she was what we would today call a flat. And Louisa got up in front of the class to recite a poem. And I believe it was Joyce Kilmer's Trees. I don't know who wrote it. Trees. It was what it was. And she was talking about the bosom of a tree. Well, all of a sudden, everybody started giggling. We're in the 3rd grade. We're what, 8? And so back then, of course, sex we didn't even know what sex was. And so everybody started giggling. And of course, when one child giggled, then everybody started giggling. And when everybody started giggling, everybody started guffawing. Well, when everybody started laughing beyond belief, Miss Wilson turned red as a beet. I mean, wonderful lady, but just turned red as a beet. And Randall Stoney slapped his knee and said, "Wow, that's a real knee slapper," and the class just erupted and you could hear it. Charleston Day School was at the corner of Beaton's Alley and Elliott Street, and I swear to God you could hear us laughing on East Bay. Well, Miss Wilson closed the class down, and from then on we were no longer allowed to read poetry in class. We had to read to ourselves during that period. So Louisa, back at you, darling.